work culture has shifted dramatically. Like the days of simply telling people to do your job, those are long gone.
Welcome everybody. Today's topic is about how to get your team aligned with your vision so your business can actually thrive, not just survive. Welcome to another episode of Top Rated Gym Podcast, where we highlight the minds behind some of the most impactful businesses and wellness and fitness brands. Today's guest is someone who truly understands how to align people, process, and purpose. She is VP of Corporate Operations at Stretch Zone, with prior success leading operational transformations at Orange Theory Fitness. Please welcome Cynthia Wagner. Thank you, Cynthia, for being on the show today.
Of course, I'm very happy to be here, excited to speak about people and your team.
Let's do it. So let's give a little bit introduction to the people about you. Like, walk us through your journey in the fitness in next 2 to 3 minutes.
So I started as a $10 an hour sales associate. That's how I broke into the fitness industry. I was behind the desk, didn't really know anything outside of just taking care of myself. I was a mom of 2, so I'd gotten very into what health and wellness looked like and fell in love with fitness and wellness and the kind of like the holistic view. And then I found Orange Theory and jumped headfirst. I left a very well-paying executive assistant job and moved into 40 hours a week, $10 an hour, and bled the passion for that, and then slowly went into being on the fitness side, became a fitness coach, and then a regional, and then the director, and then I dabbled a little bit on the learning and development department, which very much helped me on how to help train, develop, and grow your team. And then made the transition after a successful tenure with Orange Theory, made the transition over to Stretch Zone just to expand my expertise and really reach more people.
And that gives you a truly experience from all angles, being employee, but also being part of such a big enterprises. And I believe that people with variety of the background experience brings more value than just being grown within one company, because you get to see experience what works, what doesn't, and different leadership styles. And then you get to decide what do you really want to present as a value going forward.
Correct.
And
yes.
That topic about vision, oh my God, alignment, people, connection. I think it's such a overlooked topic in today's world. It's almost like you have a ton of people pulling in a different direction and you're not moving. Instead of all of them aligning into one way and pulling you into the direction you want to go with. So I'm so excited about this topic because it's something that we do in our company as well. Such a huge focus, but I want to see your perspective in the fitness and wellness world. Now, I want to start by why do you believe this alignment is important?
Outside of it being massively successful, I have always, my entire career, focused on the people around me and the development of my people and the relationships and building that, whether it was with the members and your customers or it's with your team. That is ultimately the foundation of what's going to make the business move forward. And I also, through those relationships, have learned a lot about myself as a leader, as a human, as a person. And I think that connection and feeding off of each other, and I scratch your back, you scratch my back, I just think it feels good as well. And then when you feel good, you're more motivated, you're more enthusiastic, and everything thrives when the environment is connected and everybody's aligned on a vision, and you don't have any disconnects.
How do you see that happens? COVID made such a shock on the industry, but I believe there's a shock that is longer than just a couple of years of COVID, right? There's a post-COVID business drainage, or there's anxiety. And even on HFA, they said that we're still, as an industry, not reaching pre-COVID numbers. What do you think is happening in the world when it comes to communication, when it comes to internal business processes, when it comes to anything related post-COVID numbers? Because your experience goes way before COVID, and your experience goes after the COVID. How do you see that impacting now what we experience today?
First, I want to start by saying what a unique experience it has been. And if anybody has been in my shoes where they were a leader pre-COVID in this industry and post-COVID, I think it's a very unique experience to be able to carry with you. And there was a lot to learn from it. And not everybody had that experience. So it's something that I carry with me with a lot of pride, to be honest, to know that I made it through that. Our industry is facing what I would consider a critical issue. And over the past 6+ years, we've really struggled to keep up with cultural shifts, and we've lost the art of truly taking care of our people. I see it everywhere. Owners, entrepreneurs, employees, everyone is stressed and anxious. Like you said, a lot haven't recovered from the impacts of COVID, and everybody's exhausted trying to hustle to maintain their profitability. And because of that, they're hyper-focused on the numbers, which results in not having time or energy to invest in their teams. Ironically, most of the stress stems from focusing solely on the numbers and not investing in your people who drive your numbers.
And I agree with that, because I think if I just measure it, somehow I'm going to improve it. But that sentence doesn't work unless you have people aligning to that.
Correct. You know, the number one complaint that I hear from owners and entrepreneurs in the industry and employees as well is that they're overwhelmed right now with the amount of time that they are continuing to have to spend inside of their business, boots on the ground level, after the first 2 years of opening. Usually when you're presented with the opportunity to open up a location or open up a business, they say it's very well known that the first year to 2 years is the grind, is the hustle. But after that, you should be able to kind of take a step back. Not to mention, work culture has shifted dramatically. Like the days of simply telling people to do your job, those are long gone, right? More people are choosing remote work or seeking time freedom or preferring multiple part-time jobs to fill their financial needs, and they now have options. So it is that much more important for us to take better care of them so that we are a place that they want to work for and choose to work for.
Wow, that's impressive, because honestly, I remember, I'm not going to mention his name for privacy, but was one of the leaders in a world of franchise. Probably you know him because it's one of the brands that, and it's incredible. 9 locations, super successful, prior COVID, leader in the industry, and then COVID happened. After COVID, he just want to quit, not because business is down, but because he just could not deal with employees.
Yes,
it was biggest struggle. Like, I just can't deal with this. And what you said, you ask people to do the job, they don't do it. There's excuses. There's new, they call it quiet quitting. That means they don't quit. They stay on a payroll, but they already quit doing the job and they're just waiting to get out. You let them go, and then suddenly you have so many consequences on the legal side. Like, why did you do it? Is it discrimination, or is it because it's one of the other things? So the industry is such a shifted, and what you're saying is we gotta add more towards connecting with people to bring the training, or I will go into that discussion how to deal with the challenges in today's employee environment and vision and culture, and building a brand that really stands out and attracting people, because I still believe, Cynthia, that there are people out there who are awesome. I have them in my company. I'm blessed to have so many great people who are fighters. But how to really get those in? So what is the solution? Let's talk about how do you see the culture as a thriving culture? What's your definition of one?
As in, like, what it looks like when you have a thriving culture, or as in how to get it to be a thriving culture? Oh man. So I call it the how, and I make sure that they are actionable steps. And there's really 3, and each one of them can be a little unique, but I've narrowed it down to, if you have no idea what you're doing foundationally, say you just want to start from scratch, or you're just opening a business, or you're just now deciding that you have a problem, or you're now seeing the problem, you want to turn it around. 3 things. First, you need to engage your team. That includes individually and from a team aspect and from a relationship building aspect. Then you're going to have to educate them. That's where your training, your development, and updating them on potential roles and growth come in. And then the third is empower them. And you have to do these things in order. So first, you need to engage your team. You need to build relationships. You need to invest time and energy. You need to get to know them. foundationally figure out where they're at, where they want to be, what motivates them, what makes them tick. You need to invest time and energy into them, which is what we talked about. Not a lot of people feel like they have, but it's the reverse. Then you educate them. What's their role? What do they need to do? Make them feel confident in what they bring to the table. A lot of employees are unsettled right now because they don't feel like they can do their job well. That's on us. We need to be training and developing them more. And then we empower them. Once we've engaged with them, we've built the relationship, we have the buy-in, and we've educated them on their role, and we've updated them, and we've trained them, we've developed them. Now we delegate. We start delegating with intention. We know what motivates them. We know where they want to be. Here's a task. You provide positive reinforcement to ensure that they're doing those. Look, if they excel at something, let them lead others. And then we provide them with feedback, constant and continuous actionable feedback. So engage, educate, and then empower.
Oh, guys, write this down. And it's something that people think like, oh my God, with AI, I can outsource a lot of people, right? A lot of things, a lot of people. And we think since it's harder to get people, we don't trust this person will stay even longer. And then we look at why would I build connection if they're going to leave me? And wrong. You should be building connection and connecting with people. And what I like about the word is thick. What makes them thick? That's really resonate because everybody's motivated different way, right? You ask what motivates them. Look into their world. Ask for their goals, ambitions, inspirations, where they want to be. What's their goals, inspiration now? What's their hobbies? Because you can make a story relevant into their world. I have a salesperson training now in my company, and she's new mom with a newborn baby. So I compare the success in the world with the raising the kid. It's like, oh my God, that makes so sense, right? How you gotta lead the people in the conversation instead of letting them lead you. It's how you lead a kid in certain outcomes. You know, and you smile
it's
about
so
it.
True.
Like, it's so true. It's like, you know, your little baby doesn't want to eat, but you know it has to eat. So it's your moral responsibility to make that happen. If somebody doesn't want to do it, then we have tools to make it happen. It's our moral responsibility to make that happen. Right? So important to motivate them in the world that already motivates them. And one thing I want to add on, it's such inspiring, and I want to hear the people to hear this. Richard Branson, one of the most beautiful cultures of all of his companies to work with. He said one thing. I hope I remember to paraphrase it. Invest in people, and that's to your education, second point. Invest in people so they can leave you at any time. But treat them well enough so they don't want to.
Yes.
And that's the culture. You gotta add to their education, their portfolio, their resume so much that their value in the marketplace is so higher. But they love you so much that nobody can steal them from you. That's the culture that we all need to think about it. It's not controlled by giving less, it's controlled by giving more. It's by being a magnet to attract, not the glue that you can't get out. It's like what pushes them in. I think people forget, or people get how important is this topic. Culture eats strategy for breakfast all day long, guys. And there's one thing, no jerk policy. You get one bad apple. Everything goes on to the...
It really will spread. You've seen it. You've seen like the photos of putting a bunch of apples in a bucket and one of them is browning, and then you give it a week and then the rest of them are infected with that. And I found a lot of people, because they have low energy from the hustle, from the grind, when there is a bad apple, they almost ignore it. And they neglect it because they don't, and it's not because they don't want to address it. It's not because they don't see it. It's because that's more time and energy that they're going to have to spend to either course correct the behavior, provide the feedback, train, develop, and they don't want to. Genuinely, the challenge, what they don't see is that if you don't handle it in the moment and deal with it in the moment, it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
True. And then other people see it, and then
yes.
Things get contagious within. the company.
Yes. Well, and then they also see that you're neglecting it. So your high performers are going to see that you're tolerating that behavior, and they're not going to want to stay around for that.
That's right. A players don't tolerate C players. There's a book
Definitely don't.
about coach of the Michael Jordan, Relentless. Brilliant book for everybody to read. Such a lesson how Michael Jordan extended his career because of the coach. And the coach was always, before he started training, hitting his button. Like literally finding what motivates him. Sometimes telling him how bad he is to drive that inner ego to say, no, yeah, I'll show you how good I am. But we gotta find what motivates people. And the last part, what you said, empower them. You see, owners, because they know how to do the job, they have hard time letting go.
Oh, I used to. I used to, for sure. Because in your mind, you're like, okay, I've been doing it this way. I know it works this way. And then somebody else is going to come in and it's going to do it differently. Mm-hmm. And in your mind, not to the caliber. But what I found is you're kind of selling yourself short in that aspect of, look, your responsibility when it's delegating is to give them the tools and empower them to focus on the results, not the process.
Ooh, yes. So I made a new word. Instead of delegate is a great word, because people think, oh, if I give you a task, then I gotta control how's that task done. And it's the same work on me. Like, I give you, I gotta check you, I gotta correct you, I gotta come back. No. We need to make sure that here's the outcome you're after. Here's the results you're gaining. How you gonna choose the path, it's up to you, but make sure that the results are what we are after. Not sending email out. You know, in my company, we have big discussion. It's like, yeah, I sent an email to the client. Like, hold on. You think that's the outcome that's completed? What about if you got $200 million lottery ticket and you have 24 hours to claim it? Would you just send an email? Or would you freaking rent a private jet on the money you don't have to make sure you are there ringing on the door?
I love that.
It's like, we don't have that. And we call it, passing the torch in Olympic Games. If the torch is not passed, the flame is gone and everything is falling apart. Value chain is broken. So outcome is what matters, not a task. And that's what empowering team. My best response is like, what do? I reply, fire at will. Just get it done. Mm-hmm. And they reply, smiley, I love it. Already know what I'm going to do. Get the people, because here's what internal motivation is. Nobody likes to be stuck. People love to grow. Even if they make mistake, it's okay. They learn from the mistake. They'll do it once if they are good and not again, at least not the same one. But people need to grow in order to feel good about themselves. Growth equals happiness. This is so cool. I love it, guys. Look at how simple thing is. She broke it down on the 3 things: engage, educate, empower. Everybody can do it.
In that order. And you can look, if you're stepping in and you already have a great relationship and you already have one-on-one set up individually with your team and you're already doing weekly team meetings and there's already a collaborative environment and you already know their kids' names, their pets' names, what motivates them, what makes them tick. If you're already there, then move on to educate. Make sure that they know their role, make sure they're confident in their abilities, make sure that we're doing everything we can to feed them the knowledge that they need to be confident in what they do and what they bring to the table. And then once they're solid, then transfer that. Delegate them with some things. I used to get tied to the process because I'm a very analytical person and a data-oriented person, and here's the steps that you take, and I'm efficient, and discernment's one of my strengths, so I will make your process massively efficient. But what I'm presenting to you, if you want to change it, you change it, because what works for you, how your brain works, is unique. And actually 9 times out of 10, it's turned into gold, because it ends up being this collaborative, what they did versus what I did, and actually becomes better because I'm not the end all be all. And once you do that, you're empowering them to make the changes and learn and struggle. And like you said, it's okay if they make mistakes, but then you come back and you recognize that they've achieved something. They ended up with the end results. And then they take their own processes and they copy and paste them to others. If they're good at whatever you've delegated them, and hopefully because you know them and what motivates them and where they're next opportunity is or what they're strong at and what they're going to excel at, then they can lead others in that same environment. And now you've created this ripple effect. You've dropped a drop of water into this massive ocean, and it's rippling out. And now they're teaching others. They took your process, they did it their own, they were successful, they got the results. Now they're going to teach others, and that empowers them on how to train and develop somebody else, how to manage processes, how to manage emotions, because now that person's going to take the process and probably change it a little bit. That's a unique learning situation as well.
I got to ask you, Cynthia, because I think also as these three things are important, I 100% agree. I also believe that order, doing it in 1, 2, 3 is so important.
Yes.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much.
Exactly.
So you cannot educate them about how much you know until they know, I do care. And this is literally matching that thing. Mm-hmm. And I have a book here. Oh, I got to show you. That talks about your third thing. You know, my good buddy, Dan Martell, wrote Buy Back Your Time. But in his book, he talks about business owners who are stuck doing the things, not letting employee do the things, like that last one, empower them. He says they will never do a job 100% as good you are. Let's just take that, unless you find somebody who's 10 times better than you. But they will not. They will do 80%, and that's fine. But that 80% of doing everything that you're doing is 100% freaking awesome, because it's 100% of your time freed up.
Yes.
And if you're happy with 80%, so you raise the bar to 120, drop it down 20, get it to 100, or make it, it's a game changer. I had a problem as well as like, oh, everybody has to talk the way I do. Everybody has to do it. No, far from it. If they do 80%, that's freaking 100% awesome. Highly recommend, guys. Read the book, Buy Back Your Time. It's going to change every entrepreneur life.
I love that. And I mean, and you'll hear about it as well, where time is money. So while I've given that, intentionally given that off of my plate, and I've allowed them to take have autonomy in the process, and as long as we're getting the results that we need, I now have time to do my own personal and professional development, or do the things that I need to focus my time on because of the level that I've reached in my career. And when you're investing in them, they invest back. I think what's the massively missing thing is, like you said, people are nervous of investing all this time and energy into somebody to have them leaving. I have two things to say to that. One, you should be okay with them being a stepping stone. You are growing and training and developing them. If they become this massively successful person, know that you played a part in that.
Correct.
And so I will give you everything that I have off the shirt off my back.
It's good karma. It's going to come back.
Yes, 100% great karma. And then as humans, that relationship is so strong. When I'm giving you something, you will give back. I call it, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And that's how most of my conversations go, because it needs to be mutual. Just because I have a higher title than you, or I make more money than you, or I'm further along in my chapters of my career, you doesn't mean anything to me. There's something that I can provide to you, and there's something that you provide me in return, whatever that looks like. That's an agreement that you and I make. You might be teaching me things and not even know, but there's a value in that reciprocity that's happening between people. And that is worth its weight in gold.
And many business owners think, oh, I'm a business owner. No, you're not. You're a business operator.
Yes.
You know, the fact you know it, when was the last time you took 10-day vacation, you didn't think about business at all? You didn't get anxiety what's going on, and you didn't check it out. It means if you can't check out, you're an operator. In order to be a business owner, you gotta leverage. You gotta put the process in place. This is not random. You gotta educate, you gotta leverage. You gotta free up yourself. That's the ownership, not operational. Oh, this is so cool. I love it.
Speaking of ownership, the book Extreme Ownership, speaking of books, that is one of my favorite books that I read very early on in my career. Because in a situation where you do have a team and you are responsible for employee engagement and retention, it can get lost on yourself as a leader and as an owner that every single thing that happens in your business is you did that. You have extreme ownership in every single outcome that happens in your business. And so a lot of people like to blame other people. oh, this person was a poor employee, or they were lazy, or they did this, or they did that. But instead of mindset shift and take it internal, what could I have done better to ensure that this person wasn't being lazy, or that they did show up to work on time, and taking ownership in their behaviors when they're inside of your business because they work for you.
Take the ownership, take the responsibility. And what I like about the word responsibility, that means it might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility because you're able to respond. And even in any world, I like when people in my team come in, it's like, oh, mistake happens. Boom, we didn't know this, but I take the blame. I was like, no. Blame is different responsibility. You have ability to change it next time, and I'm glad that you're taking responsibility. All right? That's different. When people take a charge, and then owners as well, that's your responsibility to make sure if somebody do something wrong, I always ask myself, like, okay, what's good about this? My first instant question is, what's good about this? Right? What can we learn so it never happens again? How is this making us grow? Everything that's happening in our business is a test, it's a challenge. It's like a game with the infinite levels that we go to the next one. When you find a challenge, boom! It's either you face it, take the charge, solve it, and move next. 10 years from now, that's going to be peanuts based on bigger problem you got to fry.
Yes.
Because the problems when you're employee are different than you're a manager, different than your owner, different than you're a franchisor, different, bigger, better quality problems. Problems are sign of life. Take it. Because we are all here to grow, and problems makes us grow. It's a challenge. It's an opportunity to make things better. It's a beautiful thing.
I'll have people come to me and ask, how did you grow your career so quickly? And it's doing exactly what you just said. Finding every time that there was a mistake or anything that anybody around me was doing that wasn't aligned with the vision, or it was outside of what the results that I was looking for, I would look at it with the mindset of it's my responsibility. I would take it, I would figure out what went well, what didn't work, and I would pivot and I would change. And nothing was personal. Have you ever read the 4 Agreements where one of them says don't take anything personal? Because it's not.
It is. And don't make assumptions.
And don't make assumptions. And so I would take anything that wasn't working and I would figure out what the root cause of that was, and I would make sure it didn't happen again in the future. And it completely expedited my career. Guys,
it's that simple. It's that simple. Look at the problem in the face and face it. It's like, okay, I'm on it. Mm-hmm. People blame, complain, gossip, go around. No, that's not going to solve the problem. A couple days ago, my LinkedIn, I gave my assistant access to my thing, like to my calendar, to my email, to a lot of things, so I can free up my time. I'm following the book of buy back your time. It's like you gotta find a way for certain things to leverage with other people. And I made a mistake by giving them a LinkedIn access so they can manage, I don't want to miss some important communication on LinkedIn. And I didn't know that LinkedIn forbid that as a policy, since my assistant was outsourced and it was different IP address, different country. They banned me totally, and they didn't tell me why. And I thought it's maybe because my name is an alias name, like my full name is Andrea, and I'm Andrea on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, guys, I'll change it. They didn't want to respond, and I complained, and they just said, no, you're out. You're forbidden forever from LinkedIn. Your account is shut down. Don't even reach out to us. You're out.
No.
And I was like, no, guys, this is my business. This is the world. This is my community. This is where I live. No. I complained, I asked, I was like, no, this is absolutely not acceptable. No, totally out. Please do not email us again. And I'm laughing.
Okay, LinkedIn.
No, wait, this is not going to happen. And I just laugh. And I was like, okay, we got to raise the level of the game. Guess what? 7 days later, my LinkedIn is up and running. Totally. Right? After all those black and white writing. Because I was like, okay, maybe this person is taught in their SOP is a rule, and I understand their limitations is there. But there's 20 doors. Just go and knock on another door. And I literally send a couple emails, and boom, thing open up. So never accept the rules and a hard no. It's just a no is easy way to make weak people give up so you can make a room for strong ones to lead. It's designed that way. It's your level. You're reaching the level, and there's a boss at that level. If this is a game, and it's like, okay, can you pass me?
Look, your video games are speaking my language. Boss level.
Exactly. So there's a bot over there that says, no, you can't do it. Like, okay, you're programmed that way. Let me find another program that works.
I love that.
You know, it's a fun way to look at it. So there's always a way around. Now, when we talk about this, some people listening now is like, yeah, it sounds simple, but you should talk to see my team. Like, I can't even get it to come to do a training. Like, there's always some kind of drama happening. Like, where do I start? Do I clean up this mess? Do I fire people? Or do I hire them brand new one with a new process? Like, how can when you go in a location, let's say, what would you do? Would you change the team, assess the team, or would you retrain them, set new expectations? How would you manage that's into a new environment?
I get that question actually a lot. What's the first thing you do? And the first thing I do is assess. I assess where they're at, versus where they need to be. I'm coming in and I've pre-educated myself on what the expectations are as well, right? There's a lot of pre-work that you have to do before you can walk into any business in any location and assume you know everything. You need to know everything, because otherwise you're walking in and you might be looking to change something with false information or a lack of information. So first you need to invest in yourself and your time and your education. The first thing I do is assess where they're at versus where they need to be, how big that gap is. And I do that by engaging. I think that's why the 3: engage, educate, and empower. When I walk into the building, the relationships are the first thing that I build. Even if it's in casually, and you have to be physically present to be able to do that. I'm not going to be doing virtuals. I'm going to be physically showing up, and you're going to put a face to the name. I'm going to shake your hand, and I'm going to ask you questions, and I'm going to get to know you. And it's none of it right out of the gate is ever about work, ever. It is always about, what's your name? Where do you come from? Where did you grow up? What school did you go to? Do you have any pets? So, like, here's my pet. I have kids. And it becomes this dialogue back and forth where I get to know them and they get to know me. And then I stay in constant contact with them. Constant contact. I reach out randomly. I call them random check-ins, like personal check-ins, where it doesn't matter to me if you are an entry-level $10 an hour person, or you're the regional over multiple locations, or the director over multiple locations. If you are part of my team, or if I am assessing where you're at and what I need to get to know you, I can't make any moves until I get to know you.
You don't want to be driven by assumptions of what other people told you, right? As well, because somebody else says, "Oh, this person is horrible, or lazy, or gossiping." It's like, yeah, I believe it's poor substitute for experience. Let me check myself. Let me talk to them.
Yes. Well, and I'm also a big advocate of the fact that everybody's perceptions of their reality are all different, because they're always based off of how they were raised and how they were brought up and what their life experiences were. So I always tell somebody, even when I'm making, say, like a leadership transition, of my experience with them is not the same as your experience with them. And you might see them as lazy. I could see something different because I have a different filter on. It might not even just be my experience, just me as a human. I have a different filter. I see the world differently than you do. So I might see this person differently than you do. And so you might think all of these things and they need to be let go, but I'm going to do my own assessment. And in reverse, if I'm the one that's passing off the individual to a different leader, I don't give any, because they'll tell me about, so-and-so, tell me about Debbie, tell me about Rachel. And I won't. I said, I'm going to let you come up with your own conclusions, because what my experience was with them might not end up being them, and I don't want to taint that.
Yeah. And this is such a critical part. So you come in, you go in person, no online, deep dive into their personal life. Something like, let me understand this person.
Yes.
Because is there any things that you discovered that surprised you? They're contradicting to what you expected?
All the time. All the time. And then what I do find out happens the most is they will vent. And so then I also find out the reciprocating how their employee experience has been. Here's a new fresh set of eyes coming in. They know why I'm coming in.
Not only about
and so then they start They start venting about their friction. I call them friction points and frustrations, which is brilliant because part of my role is to remove those so that you can do your job. So I listen to them and I actually poke a little bit more to figure out what's frustrating them and what keeps them from being able to feel successful and confident. It could be my onboarding didn't go well. Okay, cool. Now in my brain, I'm going to take you through onboarding. It simplifies everything else once you have that conversation. And it's like 2 or 3 conversations before I actually move on to the next step.
And it's so important. I know other brand, they had really fast growth. Boom, explosive. Big investment came in, growing rapidly, like 50 to 100 locations a year. But it started war within it. People overlap territories. People start saying, I'm losing support. I can't reach you. Boom. It's like throwing rocks and life threats. It's like, oh my God. It's a blood battle. And then they organized first event, conference for the business. And they were thinking like, we're going to be annihilated on this event. We're going to be killed. There's so much anger. We don't know what's going to happen. When they went face to face, the whole fire went out. People started appreciating having one-on-one conversations. There's a different personality came in. People start talking to each other. It's like, oh my God, it's not that bad at all. People just needed to be heard. And it's so much different face to face. When you look at people's eyes and you're like, okay, now I understand. If people understand you care, everything is gone. If you start through papers, goals, numbers, evaluations, and why did you do or not do something? Oh, that's where the friction is. We are not built that way. We are not built on a paper. We are built in a world of interaction. And that's where COVID really hits us, I think. That's why we still have that challenge, because it disconnected people permanently.
Yes. Yes.
You know, everybody now expect I'm going to work from home and have so much fun. Yes, if you really know how to do this. But if you didn't, my company is a remote company. We have like people in 10 different countries. But we started prior to COVID that. We built a culture before that about it. We have so much fun connecting in person. Every call is mandatory cameras because we want to see your emotions, how you're coming on the call. So I know how do I need to be concerned or not.
Yes.
Like as far as possible. Nobody's ghost, not nobody. Everybody knows, and we have some fun activities like sharing tacos, catching people when you do something good, right? It's like so much fun. But it's important. I love that.
I think that's where, because you said it originally, I can't get my team to show up virtually for a meeting. How am I going to get them in person? And originally, it is tough. Originally, I'm not a massive fan of saying mandatory or you have to, or there's some kind of punishment if you don't show up to this meeting. I think it's our responsibility as owners, as leaders, as franchisees to make them want to show up. What is going to be on that call? What is going to be in that conversation? How is that going to go? What's that environment going to be like? Is it a happy environment to walk into? It's the same with your customers. When your customers are walking into the building, they're feeling the energy. You need to create a space and an environment for them to want to show up. So I would question how those feel. Are you just going at them with numbers that they're not hitting and the metrics they're not hitting? Or are you coming to them with resolutions and results and allowing them to speak freely and openly and transparently and bring their own ideas to the table? Are we collaborating on these calls? Does it feel good? They should want to be on the calls. And if they're not, then it's on you to create that shift.
Small little things means a lot. So if you're leading an organization, I love Jeff Bezos' sentence a couple of days ago. I catch him on a Facebook. He said, I'm the person who speaks the last. Mm-hmm. If I go in a company, in my meeting, and I speak the first, whoever had opinion or idea might not express it because they will listen to what I said. Judge it, comment it, go with it or not. But if you're the last, if you're a leader, you should be speaking last. Thinking like, let me hear everybody who has what to say, and then I'm going to be the one topping up. Think about it. You got to put yourself in their shoes. Come with the questions, not with the solutions. And questions will lead you to the solution.
And that's a really hard shift. I don't want to negate the fact that that's a really hard shift to make, because how you became a leader was probably because you did speak up and you did create solutions and you did say things. And that's what got you into the role to begin with, because you put yourself out there. And then once you are in that position, shifting into prying more and digging deeper and asking whys, because it's now not about you, it's about your team.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the only path to freedom and to growth. Oh my God, we can talk about this day long. I gotta ask you, what happens in the case when you find that somebody has to leave? Like, what's the easiest way? Because I found a lot of business owners have struggled letting people go. They know, they have numbers, they experience themselves, but they still feel bad about it. It's not easy.
No, it's not. I think that I've had leaders come to me and people that I mentor come to me and have the same struggle. I think if you ever wake up and it is not difficult for you to let somebody go, that's your sign to leave, because it should not feel good. It's not supposed to feel good. It should be something that you struggle with doing. So know that it's normal. Know it's normal to fear letting somebody go. When you get to the point where you need to, the most effective way to do that is honesty and transparency. The person that you're letting go should know that it's coming, because you've had multiple conversations with them about their performance or about their attitude or whatever the challenge has been, at minimum 3 times over the course of a short period. I would say like 6 months, 3 to 6 months. If you've had that same conversation, they should not be surprised. They should not be shocked. They might act like they are, but they know it's coming because you've had multiple conversations. You've given them the decency of communicating to them where they could be more efficient and effective in their role, or where they are falling short in their role. Also understanding that not everybody's meant to be in every role. And there have been people that I have let go that have gone on to do bigger and better things. Some of them have become my closest friends. And it's because they were in the wrong role. And that's really where the conversation goes. I hear it all the time. This person's a great person. They're just not good at their job. That means they're in the wrong role. They're just not meant for that. Not every role. That's why there's thousands and thousands of roles out there. And people are so unique. You just got to find something that fits right for you.
I agree. I remember I had to let person go for moral reasons, for their better good, because they used to live in outsourced country and they moved to Western country. And I was like, I could not now, for that role, that particular job, change your salary to be in a Western country. You gotta look for the local job there that's gonna pay you 3 times more. Like, I literally have to tell them, you have to find something that's better for you in this place. It's not easy for me to find a replacement. I don't want to lose you, but you gotta look from your own angle. And we're still great friends. They did find a local job. I found nice, easy replacement, right? It was a good transition, but it is, we got to do the right thing. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's like, because we all wanna build a place of empowerment, because people do talk no matter what. And that's going to attract A players, because A players want to have place where they know you are a person of integrity, where they know they have opportunity to grow. And sometimes letting people out is the necessary thing for them and for you and for business, and at the end for your mission and your clients that you're serving. Super important.
You know what I love about what you just said? I was thinking of, if you have done the engage, educate, and empower properly, this conversation is not that hard.
That's right.
They know that you care. They know you're being honest. They know that you've done everything you can. They know that it's not working out. It becomes a much simpler conversation if you have put in the time and the energy into somebody. That conversation becomes very simple.
Yeah, I agree. And then, you see, this is a lot of time consuming to make sure that you get with people, and I believe it's necessary. And when I'm talking to you, you're so aligned with, so certain, so in center with this. But let's be real. You have 200 locations plus in your brand. and you have a ton of people, how do you scale yourself? How do you make sure that everybody in an organization follow the same spirit? The down between you and multi-unit owners and franchisees and managers and employees, people follow the same spirit. Okay, how do you scale yourself?
Things. There's two things, right? There's a difference between being the catalyst and being the influence. So when I am the catalyst, I'm leading by example. When I am in the locations or I'm on a call or I'm speaking with an owner, I'm speaking with a franchisee, I'm educating a team, I'm running a training, whatever that looks like, I embody it myself. That's me being the catalyst. What you're asking about is me being the influence. How do I influence others to then put it in their downstream? The first thing that I have to do is show the proof before. They want to see that this already works. Before they start changing anything or doing anything, I have to bring all of my education and my experience and the numbers of how this is going to make their business profitable. Because a lot of business owners, they do think that way, and that's why they got into business, right? It doesn't make money. So I go straight to the money first. And I let them know what KPIs they're going to see an immediate increase if they spend this time and they spend this energy. So that's how I get the stakeholders buy-in.
What motivates them? Because they are in the business to build a business and money is measurement. So you're using literally what drives their motivation.
I'm speaking their language. And luckily I have years of experience doing, that's why you say I embody this, because I have years of experience with this being successful. It's very easy for me to turn around and I can show them numbers and I can tell them what KPIs are going to be immediately impacted and which ones are going to take 6 to 9 months to get impacted by this. But I get their buy-in first, right out of the gate. Then I duplicate myself in someone else. I am not trying to keep all the secrets. My secret sauce can be shared. That's why I'm on here sharing it with you. I want people to don't reinvent the wheel, copy paste, and then put your little personality spin on it. So I give them the structure and I give them the process and I give them the environment. That's not ever enough. Then I check in and I have to follow up and I have to hold accountable because sometimes they're going to let something go or something else worked better for them and we pivot. So then there's also a follow-up process to that. So there's a difference between being catalyst and being the influence. The influence is, I like to say that I'm not the solution. This is not the solution. This is a partner in the solution. You can't just do this and have it work, but it will push it forward. You have to bring what you have to the table as well.
I love that. I love that. And it's not only one-way street. You're telling, you're showing, you're educating, you're giving them SOPs, process, but you're also checking, making sure that there is deployment or correction measurement to be done. And somebody told me people need to hear something 7 times before they hear it once. You can tell people, they might not hear it. You gotta show them, they might not see it. You gotta walk them, they might not feel it. But with a repetition, people get it. And with the fact that we just say, hey, I sent an email, doesn't mean they got it. That is not the outcome that's happening. Now, oh my God, Cynthia, this is so much valuable. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. We gotta empower these listeners with the more resources. Somebody's now getting it like, okay, team, what do I do next? I want to ask you for some of the resources. You have experience in this. You already told me one book, and it's a great book. It's Extreme Ownership. I read it. Guys, you should listen to this. But also, do you have any other resources like books, seminars, coaches, conferences, that podcast that you would recommend somebody getting into it to learn more?
I don't know if it's considered old school, but I'm a book reader. One of my all-time life goals, like bucket list goals, is to have an entire wall full of books like Beauty and the Beast. Like, that's literally in my mind. I don't know if it's just because of my generation, but that is the kind of library of books that I want. So I am a book reader. I also love the way they smell. That's a whole nother story. But yes, I like to, when I'm talking to somebody, it usually is more geared towards what I know can help them directly. But Team of Teams is a good book. Culture Code is a good book. Radical Candor, I think, is a fantastic book. Energy Bus is also a really good book. We were talking about rotten apples. If you ever heard of The Energy Bus, it's a story book too. So you just can't put it down, and it's a small one, very super effective. And then 10-minute leadership. We were talking a little bit about emails. Doesn't mean that they get it, but the impact that the kickoff of an email can actually send. And it's from an experience, one of the mentors of mine, Heath Ellenberger. He has 10-minute leadership. So even if you don't have time, here's something you can do in 10 minutes that will directly impact your team. So I could keep going. I have a whole picture.
Listen, you are totally speaking my language. Listen, the only one difference is I love the books. Time is the challenge for me, but I do listen to the books. Audible format. I'm the kind of audible reader, and then when I like the book, I buy them like I do here, and you have it behind me, and I go again, and I go and digest it twice. There's some books that I read so many times, and every time I'm coming as a different person into the book and getting a different advice. So guys, if you didn't get it, culture code, radical what?
Candor. Radical candor.
Radical candor, energy boost, 10 minutes leadership. I love that. Extreme ownership.
Yep, and team of teams.
Team of teams.
There's also one it starts in the locker room first. That's a good one when it comes to understanding people and teams. Those are all leader and team focused. I would regret not mentioning how important it is to know yourself. So I think if you've done strength finders or enneagrams or the Myers-Briggs tests or the DISC assessments or any of those to figure out what your leadership style is, so you understand how you communicate and how you lead, because it will allow you to then further help the careers and get buy-in and investment from your team. So
definitely.
I don't want to negate the personal development that needs to happen and how well you need to know yourself before you can do any of this.
Leaders are learners, guys. If you don't invest in yourself, nobody will. This is your time. If anybody ever takes anything from me, they can take physical thing, monetary thing, but knowledge never. And that's the difference between people who will keep thriving and driving in the world of chaos. So investment in yourself, I cannot emphasize. I read probably over 200 books on Audible, and I'm doing it every time. You just gave me another probably 3 weeks or 4 weeks of good stuff.
Happy to help.
I love it.
I have tons more. I have a lot more.
Yes, we will definitely exchange some notes about that. No doubt. I love it. And DISC assessment, for you guys who don't know it, it's really best understanding of yourself. It asks you a ton of questions and then gives you 30 pages to read about you. And it was like, oh my God, now I understand my thought process, what motivates me, how I act in certain situations, how I should act in certain, like, it's a game changer. And then you use that to hire people. If you hire somebody in sales and they are S profile, they'll never succeed unless they are D and I profile. Like, they gotta be influencer, they gotta be leader, they gotta be driver of the conversation. They gotta lead people into the decision. So it's such understanding. You gotta be the leader by doing it first and then cross-pollinate it to others. It's so important. I love this. Oh my God. My God, we are coming to the end, guys, and I know we can talk about this for a long time. You're just incredible guest today, and I want to ask you last question. Is people are looking now into you and your brand, and they're looking at what you do, and I want to give them opportunity to connect. So what would be the best way for people to get into world of your world or stretch zone or understanding more about you? What's the best way for people to connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn constantly. So LinkedIn, ironically, when you had that story earlier, I was like, I hope they never shut my LinkedIn down. That is the way that I connect with people in the industry. I mean, I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. Those are more personal and private. Pictures of my kids and my dogs and stuff. So if you really want to get to know me.
Awesome.
But LinkedIn would be the first place that I would probably direct people to.
Cynthia Wagner on the LinkedIn, guys. Definitely you're something special. Your gift to the world and your gift to this community. Cynthia, I gotta say thank you on behalf of everybody listening, on the behalf of the community, on the behalf of this world of fitness, wellness that we are doing, and say thank you for sharing today this inspiring words of wisdom, because we need more people like yourself and more content like this, because it's enough sometimes to change one thought, one person, to change the world. So thank you for being such an awesome guest today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me a platform to help others with this.
And with that, guys, you know what to do. Click here to share, subscribe, send this episode to somebody who mentioned challenges with employees. And I know we have a lot of those in the world. So help them out. Share these words. They all say thank you to you. And we want to help this community by providing incredible content like we had experience to today. And until then, see you guys again. Bye, everybody. If you are a gym owner looking to become a top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.